We got the coach, Coach Carroll, joining me now. Coach, good morning. Sorry about the technical issues. Glad you're here.
Hey, well, good to be here. I wouldn't even call the issues technical, but we couldn't handle it. So,
All right, sounds good. Well,
we got it.
let's focus on yesterday. What got into your running game yesterday?
Well, it looks to me like it was an extension of going back to Houston and the last few weeks. I think we've run the ball really well and blocked well up front, and we've seen the emergence of Rashad Penny, and he's just done a fantastic job for us.
You've mentioned a couple times how Adrian Peterson impacted him. How does that translate from the practice field out onto the field? What do you see from him specifically that looks new or different or improved?
It just looks like there's been a kind of an uptick in everything, just in all of his movements on the practice. It's really the game field is, you can see it. It's on the practice field when people can't see what's going on. He's just flying around, and he's taking every snap as serious as he can. And I'm not to knock what he had done before. It's just everything is stepped up, which is what Adrian brought and demonstrated. Every single step he took was with purpose and meaning, and he was trying to learn something, get something done, accomplish the tempo, the timing, whatever. And it just picked up. And there was a couple things. I don't know if you remember the play where Rashad runs up in there and hops over through the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. Something that Adrian did. I don't remember seeing Rashad do that. He may have in the past, but I don't remember seeing him do that. But picking your feet up, going through the hole was something that we talked about him demonstrating, Adrian, to Rashad, and he. I'll be darned if it didn't show up in the game again. So it's just little things, but overall, it's the overall kind of feeling that he brings to the game now.
Is there a good comp for Penny and kind of the skills that he brings?
Yeah, there's some guys. I think both the runners at Indy are they're real fast guys, and they demonstrate the same kind of foot quickness in the hole and getting to the next level, kind of escaping issues that other running backs get caught up in. And those guys they play with speed, and that's what you see Rashad doing.
He's got those quick feet, right? And then obviously, what'd you say, 230-something pounds or whatever. It's a pretty unique combination. I'm always just impressed. It seems like he gets on guys faster than they're expecting him to.
Yeah, he does. He's got there's a subtlety to him. He is very bursty, quick, and he just jumps on you. You can see him. He's making his way and weaving through the second layer of the defense, and they can't quite get him. They can't quite get a beat on him. Harris had a shot at him yesterday coming off the edge, which would have been a normal tackle that he just bounced right off and juked the safety and scored a touchdown, with ease. And I think a normal guy would have got tackled right there. So, and that's the 236 pounds. Now that's a big load. Mm-hmm. You can't knock him off his feet easily. And that coupled with the speed is making the impact.
Obviously the challenge he's had is just staying on the field and staying healthy, and glad he's been healthy here for the last month or so. What do you use to try to predict health with someone like him moving forward as you look to make a decision for the future?
We're just looking at all the indicators, Mike, just watching everything, and we have a lot of information and just try to, get a sense for it. This is not an atypical situation that when guys come back from major leg injuries, often they'll have issues with other parts of their body as they're kind of recovering their balance in the makeup of their athleticism and all that. And he went through some tough times. He was out of whack a little bit. He couldn't quite get this or that. It was a quad, it was a calf, it was groin, one thing or another. And that was all, I think, just because after the major surgery, it's hard to get back. You can get through the workout phase, but when you start taking on hits and you start making jukes and you're making full speed reactions, your body will start to respond to that. And sometimes if you're out of balance a little bit, you can find your way into injuries.
I heard you say after the game that it was a complete offensive performance. So when you get the run game going like that, what does it do to Russell and to the rest of your offense?
Well, if you add up all the play passes that we threw in the game, there's a bunch of them. And when you run the football and then you play pass off the same actions, the passes help the runs and the run help the pass. And Russ was on the edge quite a bit yesterday with the play passes and was able to just peck away at them. Not big dramatic plays, but just keeping the game going. But every time you throw a bootleg pass off of your running game, the guys have to respond to the run first and then go to the pass, and it makes them a little bit softer on the run the next time around. So that's why it all fits together, and that's what you saw a really good illustration of yesterday.
It seemed like it helped the offensive line as well.
Of course, yeah, that's that's right. Well, first off, our guys are blocking really well, and our line of scrimmage is solid, and they're consistent on both sides of the line of scrimmage, whether we run to the right or the left. Our backside stuff is so good that now, as we've adapted to the new running stuff that we put in this year, you can really see the benefits of it, and the runners are really taking advantage of it. And you saw it, from Alex for a while till Alex got kind of dinged up, and then he never got back to health. But Rashad has picked up on it and really taken it to a good extreme, and you can see there's consistency there.
Were you able to move the pocket a little bit more with him yesterday? I mean, what does that do for Russ's game?
Yeah, he was. There was a bunch of keepers in the game plan that he got out on the edge, so he was moving quite a bit. It just gets him away from trouble, leaves the entire pass rush to one side of the field, and there's usually a guy trying to battle for the contain rush, and he navigates that pretty well. And we have different ways of taking care of it, and just gives him a lot of freedom to make his plays and see the field and all.
Coach, it's obviously an uncomfortable subject, and I know you still got a game to go, but we keep seeing and reading these reports that Russ may want to play somewhere else next year. When these reach your desk, how do you react to hearing that?
They don't reach my desk, and I don't mess with them, so I don't have to, Mike, and I know what's going on, and I don't need to follow what the agenda that somebody has out there to try to create and stir stuff up and all that. And we'll go about our off season when the time comes, but that stuff really that doesn't affect me.
Yeah. What happened to Bobby yesterday?
He sprained his knee, and he got in an awkward situation where he slipped with one foot in the other, and he kind of did the splits, and he was getting pushed on by it from an offensive lineman at the same time, and all of that, he got a torque on his knee. He does not have major damage at all. He has a sprained, kind of knee capsule that he's going to have to recover from, and that'll all be about the swelling that comes. He does have a little bit of swelling. I was with him this morning, and he's sore and hobbled a little bit, but it's not a serious injury, and easy for me to say.
Right.
But it's not, as we look at things, it's not a surgery required type of injury, and it'll take him a bit to get back.
So unlikely he'd be able to go next week?
I don't know that.
Okay.
Can't tell you. We'll see how he responds.
Okay. What has Bobby meant over the years? I mean, we've spent so much time talking about him, and maybe we could even separate it between what he does on the field versus his impact in the locker room and off the field. But how much has Bobby meant to this organization?
Well, he's been the epitome of consistency, in all ways. He has always been the guy on the field, and typified by all the tackles and consistent years in the Pro Bowl and all that kind of stuff. I mean, just year after year after year. But he's been a real figure around the organization. He's always lived here. He's always been around. He's always been in town. He's always been active. He's been visible and all that, and been really a positive effect. And all of that just accumulates into just these beautiful, guy, Seahawk, and will be forever, and is going to be a Hall of Famer, and all that kind of stuff is going to happen for this guy because he's just done everything right. And so he's been very meaningful, and a guy that I can talk like this about, so I can make him an example for young guys growing up and coming up in the game. And he's been a stellar example of the epitome of consistency.
My impression from the outside is that he grew into some of that leadership ability, that especially early with some of the louder voices in that locker room, that maybe you guys didn't hear from Bobby as much, but that as some of those voices exited, he kind of grew into it. Is that right? Yes, that's exactly. He kind of can nurture the leadership from guys as they grow through the program. Early on, he was right off the bat, he was calling defenses, and he was the huddle call, the signal caller out there. So he was always
had to be verbal and had to be up front and all. But he just waited his time, and as his time came, I thought very gracefully he emerged into the leader that he has become. And there was a lot. You're right. There was a lot of loud voices back in the day, and there wasn't a whole lot of listening being done out there. So he waited his time and did a good job. And, he had great examples too, from Cam Chancellor and some of the guys in the program that were great leaders, and he followed suit.
You miss some of that noise?
Oh, yes, I do. I don't mind that at all. I'm kind of comfortable in the chaos, and so we've got our guys. They're coming. They're growing up. We got guys that are going to be really verbal guys and active guys and demonstrative people, and we love that in the program.
Well, it seemed like your young linebacking core, even after Bobby went down, kind of stepped up and took on the challenge yesterday. What'd you make of them?
Yeah, I thought Cody jumped in, did a really nice job. He really came through, played the best he's played, was really active and downhill and on the attack, and really just shouldered the call and responsibilities and just took it over. And Jordan has been playing really well for a long time now this season, and he's doing a great job. So the two of those guys did a good job in there.
Daryl Taylor seems like, we talked about this a few weeks ago, but every week there's like one play where I just kind of jump out of my seat. Like, oh my God, is he just a physical freak? Like, what is it that allows him to make hits like that?
He's really a natural athlete. He's a really coordinated, quick, responsive type, reactive guy, and he's really fast too. And so he's got a striking ability to him that you saw. We would refer to that hit as a classic shoulder punch, and in the new game, that we're playing here, keeping your helmet out of football, that was a perfect illustration of how hard you can hit guys and not hit with your helmet. But that's just his natural reaction. He came slashing, off the backside and just saw the opportunity and then took a great shot, and it was a very, very explosive play.
I want to make sure we have time for this. I'll ask you about it now, and that's the passing of John Madden last week. As for me, he was a broadcaster probably more than anything else. That's just my age. What do you remember of John as a coach and what he brought to the game from a coaching perspective?
Yeah, I really do think of him as a ball coach, because I grew up watching him in the Bay Area, and was aware of his early emergence as such a young guy and all that. And I didn't have the perspective at all at the time what I was watching, but he had a real style about him that was really fun, and he was always aggressive and willing to be out there on the edge, and he promoted kind of this kind of a wild aspect of the game that the players really took to back in the old Raider days, and now as I look back, Mike, he had a big influence in his relationship with Al Davis, and he drew out the best of Al, I thought, and until he couldn't coach anymore. They were a phenomenal team, and those two, I'm talking about Al and John Madden,
mm-hmm.
and they had style and they had swag, and before anybody knew what swag was, the Raiders already had it, and John was the epitome of that time and age of the game of football and the Raiders and what was going on. It was really fun to be part of that and watch it.
Was he a player's coach almost before the term existed?
Yeah, it's a good point. I just quickly, I can't think of guys that were really player coaches in that sense. And yeah, John was that, young guy, maybe he started 32 as a head coach, so he was, in there with a number of his guys, but he had a way of relating, and he kept the game simple, but very aggressive and very explosive, and it just all fit together. There was a real harmonious time there, and John was right in the middle of it.
I just love how much he loved the game of football, and for me, he was a broadcaster first and foremost. That's what I knew him as, and just the amount he expanded the game by using the telestrator and trying to teach those of us who were learning the NFL game as kids what was going on out there. I always thought the world of John Madden. I was crushed to see the news this past week. As you think of some of those coaching qualities, this day and age, fast forward to today, what are the most important characteristics in a head coach?
Well, it depends on who it is, Mike. Probably the most important thing is being authentic, and being a genuine person, because you're going to get found out. You're so exposed the players and the other coaches and even to the media and what's going on around. That if you don't have your act together, your stature is going to be weakened. And so I think being comfortable with who you are and how you're going about it, and then being confident enough to go for it is really important. It has nothing to do with football or any of it. It's just the makeup, because it's such a highly exposed position. And so I think that's where it starts. And then I think, the ability to relate to coaches and players and understand, what you're representing, the ownership and fans and all that too. I think that's really important, so that you do a good job of being, connecting all those dots. And if you don't have a clear cut approach, you're gonna falter. You can't be a hodgepodge of people that you worked with or people that influence you, because you just won't have a main line of consistency that needs to be there, so that everybody can count on you, and you know where you're coming from, you know what you get, and when you're going to work, you know what you represent. And I think all of those are the kind of characteristics that are important.
When I hear you talk there, I notice that you don't mention X's and O's, and you and I we've talked about this. I think at the end of every year, as NFL owners start looking for coaches after the inevitable changes, that they seem to focus on the coordinators on the best teams, and seem to make a lot of those decisions based on X's and O's. When I think of your story of stepping away for a little while after the Patriots situation and kind of collecting your thoughts on what you wanted to do moving forward, how much of that time was even spent on X's and O's of the game versus, as you said, some of that philosophical conviction?
Yeah, everything is important, but that was not the most important thing. The most important thing was getting your act together, getting my act together, and so I could represent the position and the responsibility, so that others could excel and do well with you, and so the X's and O's, it's interesting that I didn't bring it up, and you mentioned it, that isn't the most important thing. That there's plenty of brains out there. There's plenty of experiences and guys you can put together that can bring that stuff. It's really getting it to fit and relate to the people that you have and the opportunity that you have, and what your opposition, what you're up against, and all that kind of stuff. You can get your scheme together, but I think without your philosophy, it doesn't matter much. You're just calling plays.
Well, and then we watched some of that come together this past week. I mean, it sure looked like your team was out there playing hard. What did you make of the effort level in a game that unfortunately didn't have playoff implications? What did you see from the team out there?
I thought it was a championship effort. I really did. I think from the locker room, the pregame, sensing these guys, they were really on board to go for it, and had really expected and planned to play well, and then went out there and carried it out, just like you need to when you're playing in the playoffs, playing in championship time. And it's what we prepare for all year long, is for this end of the season. So we just decided to let's take these last couple of weeks and let's play it like it is the end of it. And this is how it all culminates now, and you're going to bring your best forward. And that's what happened in that game. For one, we played really well the last few weeks here. We've seen some good stuff happen. We lost a couple minutes in the Chicago game, but we were playing pretty good football for a while there. And Houston and back, you go back a couple. It's been coming, and the running game has all been part of it. And Rashad Penny's been a big part of it too, which has been really fun to watch. But I think you see these guys coming together and they're really, I think we're going to really play hard and go for it in Arizona and play like it's the championship it's the last game of the year. We want to win going out.
Well, we will have one more opportunity to talk, Coach. I know you're looking forward to that. We will do it a week from today after you guys play Arizona on Sunday to finish this thing off. Congrats on a nice win yesterday. It's got to feel good to score 50. It's nice to be in that victory formation. And you're sure you didn't want the scoregami, huh? Class beats scoregami. Was that right?
Yeah, when they told me that on the sidelines, I decided, no, it's not that important. It's better to do the classy thing. You can give credit to Dave Pearson for passing that message down from the box. It is that moment if you want to go for it. And I had to shake off the sign. Couldn't do it.
I thought it was the right thing to do. We appreciate it. Coach, thanks for being here all year long. We'll talk one more time next week.
You got because we got a little messed up on our system here. Make sure you give him a little raves now.
Hold on. Oh, you want some raves? Hold on. I don't have a ton. You want a touchdown pass? Or here, let me give you a little Rashad Penny. Where's the other one? Hold on. Let me find you the good. Where's that good Penny one? Here we go. I got it.
Handoff straight ahead. Goes Penny again, sidesteps. 30. On the run, 35, 40, near sideline. Midfield. Stiff arms a man and is pushed out of bounds near the Seahawks sidelines. Tracy Walker pushes him out. Rashad Penny is absolutely swamped by teammates on the near sidelines, helping him up off the ground. Penny now over 100 yards in the first half.
You know, in every Penny cut I've played, Rabe says the word sidestep. It sure seems like that was a part of his game yesterday.
Wow. Yeah, there's a couple beautiful little quick foot moves that got him in the clear and just made it look easy, didn't it? I mean, all of a sudden he's just spaced out and he's cruising. It's really fun to watch, and Rapes keeps capturing. He's doing a great job.
I don't know if number 20 is quite the same as that number 3-2 and how good those look, but 20 will work for Rashad Penny. It's a pretty good day yesterday. Coach, we'll talk next week.
All right, man.